Good morning, everybody. Monday, you made it to another week and another month.
Oh, yes.
It's the third month of the year. Leigh-Ann Mol's here. Look, there she is.
Yeah, here I am. And it's March.
First
quarter over almost.
Well, don't wish the year away, please, if you don't mind. I'm like just getting into it slowly. My business partner and I went for a quick lunch on Friday, and there was nowhere where they were offering drinks and food. And the place that we went to, there wasn't a lot of options. So we came up with this idea that we would open up a place called Sorry, We're Full. I would have one table.
I love it already.
Yeah, I mean, and you'd take a little rope and put it across the entrance when you have one customer. So if you have one person in the restaurant or the bar or whatever it is, you just close everything. You're like, sorry, we're full.
How are you going to maintain your business?
It doesn't have to be profitable. It's just to fuck with people. See, this is why I would make the most fun rich person ever, because I'd open up places like that. I would do all the fun things.
Yeah. You'd have that arena where people kill each other.
Yes, that would be so cool, don't you think?
I know you love it.
That arena where people kill people. Yeah. That was my big idea, huh?
Yeah.
That was going to be my...
Instead of prison.
Yeah. And I think about it so often because people don't know what to do with prisoners. And I'm like, I know. Ask me at the back of the class. I got my hand up, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ask me. I know what to do with prisoners, but they won't let me.
They say something about like morals and
they say like, international law. There's no such thing. And ethics. I'm like, ethics from a bunch of people. By the way, can I just say how disappointing that the Epstein files, nothing new. I don't know if Pam Bondi, who's the Attorney General that Trump's just appointed, I don't know if she was completely caught off guard by this thing or, whether she didn't get enough time to read it or whatever. But they released these files last week, and we're expecting some detail. Like, these are the people who've been involved. Obviously, they can't tell you about the victims. You've got to protect the victims. These are people who were, in many situations, they were young ladies, young girls of, sort of a very impressionable age. This is child rape, effectively. So you got to look after those people, and you don't want their identities shared. So there's a lot that you'd have to redact just to protect them. But as for the customers, like Jeffrey Epstein's the world's most famous pimp ever, right? And no clients.
But we've seen stuff before on lists.
I don't know.
Lists.
Yeah, but this is the same stuff. There was nothing new. I'm like, why are you guys doing this? Why are you making such a big fuss about something that's the same? It's almost like with the Kennedy stuff that they were, that they released the other day, and there's nothing there. It's boring.
I think the media hypes it up as well, gets us all excited.
They do, because they want clicks. Fuckers. Like, really, I'm tired of like being farmed for clicks. Okay, I'm sore from being farmed for clicks. I can't anymore.
It's just enough.
And just stop it, because can I tell you something? Even the advertisers are like up to here with like those numbers. Unless it converts to sales, doesn't matter. But we've got 555 million views last week. Big deal, just because a bunch of creepy weirdos in basements all over America clicked on your video doesn't mean you're suddenly Picasso.
Yeah.
Right?
I work in digital marketing, and
yes. Tell us, complain about it.
I have to work with these figures all the time, and the parameters change, and then the benchmarks change. The client wants to see different figures. All you really need to know is sentiment. What do people think about you? As long as they're thinking good things about you, it's fine. And sometimes if they're thinking bad things about you, it's also fine, because it brings attention. But the media, no, I'm sorry, very, very tired of them.
Yeah. And they also lie.
Yeah, of course they do.
They lie about their numbers. They lie about, media's been lying about this stuff since before there was a way to track it and measure it. And it's become just an accounting system now. And really, like, the creative places of the world shouldn't be
measured in that
measured
way.
like accountants measure things.
Exactly.
God bless accountants, right? They do a very important job. But there's some parts of the world that it's difficult to have them in because they always look at it as a balance sheet.
Yeah, and so you come up with these bullshit measures of
Oh, God.
how everything's
Oh.
adding up. And
But I was thinking about that Trump, Elon Musk sending out that email saying, what are the 5 things you've done this week? And how easy it would be to bullshit people. Because people are really stupid and they're all these buzzwords in corporate world, right? So you could say, I have been endeavoring to compile a comprehensive list
dossier.
of engagement opportunities
Yeah.
which have so far eluded the business due to staffing requirements. And I mean, you can make up a long sentence like that, and most managers would be like, wow, that's great. We got to keep him.
Good
You know?
angle.
Yeah. So I think just do that if you're a little confused.
And then you have to park it there and circle back.
And ChatGPT the fucking thing. Just say to it, come up with 5 things I could put in an internal company email to make it sound like I'm really working hard. In fact, I'll bet you it'll come up with something amazing.
Cool.
Let's just do this right now.
Yeah.
Watch this.
It's pretty impressive.
Let's try. Hey, please come up with a list of 5 things I could write into an internal company mail that would make it sound like I'm really busy and important. I mean, people don't use these tools. You have no excuse these days. If you can't even come up with something with all of this at your disposal, you have to admit, you have to look yourself in the mirror this morning. You have to go, I am a useless person.
This is the opposite of morning motivation. Monday morning
motivation. You have
motivation.
to look in the mirror and go, I am a piece of shit. I am a worthless.
I did nothing last week. I'll do nothing this week. And I'll be in the same position again next year.
Okay, here we go. The high stakes decision mention. Okay. If you want to craft an internal email that makes you sound extremely busy, influential, and indispensable, here are 5 strategic phrases and tactics to weave in. Number 1, the high stakes decision mention. Before I sign off on this, I need final alignment from X department. Let's not have any loose ends on this one. We can't afford delays at this stage. Translation, you're making crucial decisions to impact the country or the company. Number 2, the back-to-back scheduling power move. I'm jumping between calls all day, but I can squeeze 15 minutes between 14:45 and 1500. Let's keep it sharp, please. Translation, you're so in demand that even your gaps are planned down to the minute. Yeah, this is clever. Do this. Anyone can. Why aren't you doing this? Okay, 3, the escalation clause. If this isn't resolved by end of day, EOD, okay, I'll have to escalate it. Let's not let it get to that point.
Yeah, escalate. Ooh. But
Good
have
word.
you escalated it?
Yeah. Ooh, good
it's
word.
Like it hurts here. It's like when your parents say they're disappointed in you.
Leigh-Ann, I'm afraid we're going to have to escalate this.
Oh.
Okay, then number 4, the high-level visibility play. Let's make sure this is polished before it lands on the CEO's desk. I don't want to have to explain gaps in our strategy. Translation, senior leadership is watching and you're managing expectations at the top. 5, the global time zone hustle flex. Okay, flex has got nothing to do with you, but there it is. Looping in someone else from another time zone. I know this complicates scheduling, but I'll be online late if needed. Translation, you're operating on an international level and working beyond normal hours. Use a couple of these in one email and you'll sound like the busiest, most important person in the company.
Very easy. You've wrapped up the whole week.
That's great, huh? Yeah, there we go. Like that's your plan for the week. Thank you. Now can I have my arena where we kill people, please? And if you don't know that story, what the arena where you kill people is all about, I'm not going through it now.
Oh,
all right.
Good. Yeah.
How was your weekend? What did you do?
Good. I was just going to say I ended up phoning Apple. Remember the days when we wanted an Apple account? We needed to lie about our address and say we lived in the States somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Because it wasn't available in South Africa yet. So that's my mom's account. And I can't sign her up for anything, Instagram, because of that. So I had to phone Apple because there's 64 US cents in the account that hasn't been spent, and you've got to spend it.
Why?
But everything costs 99 cents. So you have to phone Apple in the US to say, can you please just have the 64 cents? Take it away. It's yours.
Wow.
My mom says, 64 US cents. Well, I couldn't buy a house with that, could I? She says, maybe one of the burnt ones in California. But I was very impressed because they knew what time zone I was phoning from. They said,
know
congratulations on your move from America to South Africa and have a good afternoon.
And they knew what you were wearing.
Basically.
Yeah, and what you'd done the day before and what you'd done last summer.
And I had to pose as my mom too. So,
right.
And then I had to hand it over to my brother. I said, hold on, I'm just passing it to my son to help. Such a joke for 64 US cents.
What a lot of effort.
Yeah.
Wonder what is 64 US cents in local currency?
12 Rand.
12 rand? It's a whole 12 Rand. Huh. Go on. Someone's got a calculator, right? 11 Rand.
I'm sorry, I was a little off.
That's spot on. Almost 12 Rand. Okay. I got a cold this weekend. I can feel it's coming.
Oh, no.
Yeah, like here.
Mm.
But, other people have real problems, so I'm just going to shut up about that.
Around.
Here's a very, very funny clip of a guy who, we've been talking a lot about taxes in South Africa because we get taxed, and the finance minister's meant to talk about adding 2% to VAT or whatever. Look at this.
You people, you earn more money, I tax you more. So because I tax you more, I get more money. You people, you earn more money, I tax you more. So because I tax you more, I get more money.
I just want to say, I hate that guy.
It's government maths.
Right?
You get girl
You
maths.
earn more, I take more money. I hate those guys. I hate tax people all over the world. In every country. They're all sons of bitches.
Greedy, greedy, greedy.
Yeah. I mean, how dare you?
Where does the money go? Need I say it again? How my journey here in the morning is hell because the tax money's gone.
Yeah. What kind of hell? Tell me what kind of hell you went through this morning.
No lights.
None.
No lights. Holes in the road. Repairing the road, but not putting the balustrades up properly. You end up driving through more holes. People just walking wherever they want. Wastepreneurs. Stray cats. Just throw it all at me. People going through robots just when they want to.
Huh.
Me being scared of being hijacked and going through the robot when I want to. I don't know how I get here.
It's chaos.
And
right?
All of that, a lot of that, except for the stray cat could have been fixed with tax money too.
Even the stray cats.
Even the stray cats.
It could have easily. It might not have had to be born.
Yes.
I just don't understand why so much of our trouble comes from the people who promise us every 4 or 5 years they're going to sort out our problems. And then when they don't, we're like, what happened? We're stupid and childish to think that it's going to be solved by these people we vote for in a popularity contest once every 4 years. It's crazy. It's not going to happen. It's the most illogical, childish, and asinine thing ever. If you told a kid, all right, we're going to sort out all of your issues at school and at home and everywhere in your life, but every 4 years we need to vote in this popularity contest, the kid would go, what are you, stupid? But adults go, yeah, that's a great system. Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's 4 years is a long time.
And they need your money.
Yeah.
They need it. They are so hungry for it.
Imagine you signed up a service provider for 4 years.
Yeah.
And they would only provide a proper service for the first 6 months.
But you
Then
get
they're
their
gonna give
money
up.
every month.
Mm.
Right, I don't want to talk about
No,
that.
it's
Depressing.
depressing.
It is. It's shitty. We've got better things to do, so let's get into some of these things. James has prepared a list of things that he thinks we should be discussing this morning.
Nice.
You want to hear what they are and then ignore them?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, good. That's what I was thinking. Okay, so here we go. Apparently, China has discovered thorium and something you can do with thorium. Thorium is a radioactive element.
Mm.
And they have discovered significant thorium deposits in China. Oh, we got the thorium. So apparently it could potentially provide energy for 60,000 years. Unlimited power. Okay, according to declassified geological surveys, this development is centered around the Bayan Obo mining complex in Inner Mongolia, not Outer Mongolia.
This is important.
Inner Mongolia. Okay. Thorium is noted for its potential in generating far more energy than uranium, suitable for thorium molten salt reactors, which offer advantages like safety and efficiency over conventional nuclear reactors. So I'm in for this. I mean, like thorium.
Are we talking light bulbs here? Or
No, thorium is the stuff that makes the energy.
Right.
And it generates a shit ton of energy. Nuclear is obviously the best way to go. Okay, and they're building these things anyway. So all those people are like, but 3 Mile Island, but Fukushima, but Chernobyl. Sure, there will be some who die. Some people are not going to make it to the end.
Acceptance.
Okay, but we'll have lots of energy, and energy makes economies run properly. Don't have energy, like poor Leigh-Ann this morning when she was trying to drive into work, there was no power. She couldn't see the road. If you just had energy.
If only.
So I say, get it going, China. Let's go. They've discovered a limitless energy source that could power the country for 60,000 years. Yeah, that would be amazing. And lots of pictures included in this story of a very, very happy, what's his name? What's the guy's name? The president, who's the chairman of, he's a smiley face. Yeah, no, he's very happy. He's extremely excited, and he should be. I think this is great. I almost called him Hu Jintao, but that's not him. Anyway, thorium is abundant. India had a thorium-based nuclear program. The problem is actually building thorium reactors. So that's apparently what they're going to have to deal with now. As luck would have it, China is unrivaled in building infrastructure. That is also true. So good luck to them. I think that's right. That's great. Chairman Xi, that's his name. Chairman Xi. Did you see
From
Trump
China.
over the weekend? Oh, my God. Do we have to talk about this? I'll get to the comments in a
I
moment.
ignored him this weekend.
You ignored him? You're lucky.
What happened?
No, it was just really entertaining. So they had Zelensky in there.
Oh, yes. I couldn't,
So you did see that.
couldn't avoid that, yes.
So they had Zelensky in.
And that's that question about why he doesn't wear a suit. Oh, he got upset about that.
Yeah, but okay, so let's just, everybody calm down for starters. I had my aunt saying to me, oh, Trump is so mean and so rude and so orange. I'm like, but okay, that was a fun argument back in 2016. It's not an argument anymore. We know what we're dealing with, okay? Zelensky is an actor. You can go on to YouTube and watch videos of him on like talent shows in spandex.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, he's like a performer. He's an actor. And the way he dresses up in the like military outfit the whole time, it's just, we get it. Your country's at war, right? You're not going to the front and bearing arms and fighting, but they are loading up any kind of war age men they can find around Ukraine and just throwing them into vans and sending them to the front. It's horrible. It's a horrible place to be right now. And Zelensky goes to America because he needs American money. Like that tax guy said just now, you earn more money, I take more money. So he goes to America. He sits there in the Oval Office. And I don't know how the whole thing started. It was like J.D. Vance asked him a question about how, he must admit that he's got problems there. And Trump then says, you don't have all the cards, right? With us, you get some cards. But you're in a very tight spot. So Zelensky, instead of being smart about this, because all you do with Donald Trump is you say, great President Trump, thank you so much for your insight and wisdom, your ability to sort out all the world's problems. And we're so grateful to have you as Instead, Zelensky gets a bit tetchy. And so J.D. Vance and Donald Trump tear him to size, basically, because he's not the world's most powerful president. He doesn't run an economy that's fucking burgeoning. He's losing to Russia as we speak. he needs America. And instead of being smart about it, you don't have to like Russia or Zelensky. You don't have to like the Ukraine. He's now facing like a coup back home because he behaved so stupidly during this press conference. And Trump kept it going because he said, I want the American people to see how difficult these discussions are. This guy hates Putin. It's going to be very difficult for me to get in the room with him and sort this problem out, right? So here's Carl. He says, I know you're a Trump sycophant. And just fuck you, Carl. But that exchange was tough to watch, unnecessary. So what would you have preferred? That they do what every other leader that's ever been during our lifetimes, Carl, would have done and just pretend to smile for the cameras, pretend everything's fine. And then when the cameras switch off, you have the real argument. This is what happens in rooms. Sorry, it makes everybody uncomfortable that there were grown adult men arguing with each other
over big issues.
But that's kind of why we elect people. It's kind of why certain people who win elections are expected to deliver results. So, yes, orange man rude, orange man mean. And by the way, I think J.D. Vance is probably a little bit more mean and rude. But this guy needs America's help. So he should shut up and do whatever he needs to do to get America's help.
Instead of being performative.
See, you've been lied to. You've been told every country is the same as every other country. They're all equal, and they're not. I don't care what you tell me about Burkina Faso, okay? I don't give two shits about Burkina Faso. And they could have the most incredible, unbelievable system of government in the world, but they're still Burkina fucking Faso. I live in South Africa. It's not the greatest country in the world, but we are not absolutely bottom of the pile either. If you're in America, you can go ballistic on anything. You can say whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. You can get involved. You can decide not to get involved because you're the most powerful country in the world. And despite everybody thinking that at the UN, just because every country gets a turn to talk, that all the kids are as clever as the other kids. This is what multiculturalism has done. It made people really stupid. And what you saw there is a little taste of what actually happens when powerful people who are required to make difficult decisions sit with each other and hammer out international summit diplomacy and international relations. How did you think this was going to happen? What do you think it is? Like, sign this, smile, cameras. We've got so used to performative politicians. We got so used to these people who act like that's what Zelensky used to do. And I think what happened there is he ran out of acting. And he realized he's dealing with actual real people who want to get things done.
His auto cue stopped working.
His auto cue in his brain went fucking flat. Yeah. Right? Sorry about all the snotty nose, but there we go. Only difference is that they had the press in the room. That is exactly how these negotiations happen behind closed doors. Exactly. So everybody who's freaking out, and listen, it is mostly women, and it's because they think it's so rude and mean. Okay, but I'm sorry, if you think things are rude and mean, if that's your criticism of something, you're not a serious person either. So we don't need your opinion on any of this. You can just shut up and go and, I don't know, tend to the kids or breastfeed or fucking wash the dishes or whatever it is that you did before this, because no one really cares for your opinion. Honestly, make some tea, honey.
Oh boy.
Okay, because we don't care what you think of Trump and Vance and Zelensky. We don't.
Well,
no one does.
If you're gonna get into a state about the mannerisms,
but this is it. They get into the behavior of people. So I'm obviously laying it on thick there because I don't think of women as being generally stupid or clever. I think they're just like men, right? And there are clever men and there are stupid men. There are clever women and stupid women. But a lot of the complaints about this as a news story are coming from a lot of really stupid people who, for some reason, are unable to imagine that this is how human beings negotiate things. Like, have you watched too many movies? You know, it's not a Harrison Ford as the president. This is the actual president. This is how he negotiates with people. And you don't have to like it, but that's how it works.
No, it's actually eye-opening to see. It's quite refreshing.
Well, there are people here who disagree. I mean, Straya Matey 19 says, Zelensky, please change your name, by the way, on here. It's dreadful to read that out every time. And I'm sure you can be more creative. Zelensky is such a terrible man. Honestly, a good thing that Vance and Trump try to make him realize that what he's doing will potentially lead to World War III. Okay, so look, if you are prioritizing poor Vladimir, because he's little as well, and maybe you feel sorry for him because he's little, and you're one of those people who's like, he was being bullied, because it triggers you because you were bullied at school. That's a you problem, okay? This guy could lead us into World War III if he carries on trying to provoke with NATO and all of this shit, Russia. Now, I'm not saying Russia's good, and I certainly don't think Vladimir Putin's a nice guy either. But I'll tell you what, he was watching that going, fuck, I better get my shit together. And if Trump and Vance are really, really smart, and I think they are, I think what they might be doing is setting this up for a discussion with Putin eventually, with Zelensky, where they are the power brokers. So by flexing a little on him during this thing, they might be buttering up Putin for a better resolution of the conflict than they would have got if Putin thought they were buddy-buddy with Zelensky and against him. You know, you're playing with people here, so you got to be smart about this. And maybe it's a little bit more like 4D chess. Let's see. I mean, I could be horribly wrong. They could be morons. The whole thing could collapse. The discussions might not lead anywhere positive. And just maybe we could avert World War III. That would be the bare minimum thing that I'd like. And that's what Trump said to him. And people are like, wow, you know, he's so mean. Oh, thanks, James. This is great. Service with a smile.
Straight from the toilet.
Do the people in here who are butthurt realize that Zelensky doesn't want to end the war, says Anton. He only wants money. He may very well be the reason for World War III. Butthurt won't be the only problem here. No. So Lee says they're all bad. Let's just stop the death toll. Everyone deserves to live. Yeah, that sounds nice. It's like, you know what? The bad people doing the bad things should stop being bad. Yeah.
Someone else will take their spot. It's not going to help taking out the leader.
Peter says Zelensky is an underlying little warmonger. Okay, I don't believe all of that stuff either, right? Trump is a bully, but this time he got his ass kicked, says Arthur. Like, who got that? Arthur, were you watching this? Did you actually watch the same thing I watched? It didn't look to me like anyone was getting their ass kicked. This is just how adults talk. Especially when there are huge national interests at stake. So here's what Donald Trump wants. Let me help you understand this if you don't understand it. He wants to end the war. We're all agreed that's a good thing, right? Yeah, okay. That's a hell of a lot better than it carrying on. He's been clear about that since he started his campaign. Stop the war. The other thing he wants to do is stop sending the Ukraine all this money that U.S. citizens, it's their money. Why are you giving it to the Ukraine? Well, because we don't want a dictator like Putin to walk all over them. And what's he going to what if he attacks the rest of Europe next, et cetera, et cetera? Sure. America's got itself into this pickle. I'm not anti-Ukraine. I think that the Ukraine were the aggrieved party in this. Russia went in, invaded. That was a unilateral decision by Russia. The consequences of that have led to hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of young men dying. It's unnecessary, and women and children, over places that only matter to the Ukraine and Russia, right? And sometimes a little more to one side than the other. You know, you got the Crimea. Russia's made some interesting territorial acquisitions during this war. I don't think that the Ukraine's going to get those back. I think we got to settle that. That's not going to go exactly the way that Zelensky wants it, despite the fact that he's lost lots and lots of people and territory. And I think Putin's also going to realize, like, he can't carry on like this.
Yeah.
So stop, just bash their heads together, which is, I think, what Trump's going to try and do.
Yeah, literally put them in a room.
He's got a much better chance of getting this right than Biden would have, right? Everyone accepts that.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens. Maybe he's clever. He's playing 4D chess. Maybe he's setting up a great deal here. Greatest deal. We're going to make a great deal. We're going to be strong. There's going to be a lot of great deals. It's going to be tremendous. Okay, maybe. But I'd still rather take a halfway success where this war ends than a zero chance of success and it carries on.
Yeah.
You know, let's just see. And if you really are like upset because Orange Man mean, you just got issues that you need to go and see Dr. Hanan about. Really?
Who's apparently not available.
He's not available today. He's actually flying around the world. He's doing something. Okay, let's see here.
The madness has spread. He needs to spread his wings.
Carl says, the president of Burkina Faso has great tits, by the way. I'm on a Trump side here. Just saying there was a car crash. Okay, look. Burkina Faso was just it was a country I pulled out of a hat. I genuinely don't give a shit about it.
You did not plan
no,
this morning to bring up Burkina Faso.
Yeah, I didn't get out of bed this morning and go like, ooh, got to find a way of wedging in the important...
Which list, country can I add to the shithole countries list?
Yeah, like I really need to discuss Burkina Faso. And Flex, I'm sorry to have brought Burkina Faso up. I know your great-grandmother came from there. So... All right, let's see what else is going on here in the comments, because that's always fun. Some people don't get it, says Patrick, that you need this kind of stuff to avert serious escalation. Who gives stuff about bullying, man? People are dying. If bullying is necessary, so be it. Zelensky sounds like an ANC member. I want the money. Well, you know, the other thing that came up here, and I got to tell you, like, this is not a Trump, Vance, Zelensky thing even, but people are so ungrateful these days. You don't hear people saying thank you. People just expect, they're entitled. And what like J.D. Vance brought up is, he said, you've been sitting here, you haven't said thank you to the American people once. Like if you go to a country that's given you, the numbers vary, but it's in the hundreds of billions of dollars that America has sent there. Most people are saying it's about $175 billion. Yeah, that's a ton of money to help Ukraine. Great. Whether America had more to give, less to give, $175 billion. The first thing you do is go, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, before we even continue with this conversation, I just want to say a big, heartfelt thank you from my people, the people of Ukraine, to the people of the United States of America. You're an actor. You should have got this part right. Right? Like, that's easy to do. Just do that part. And then get into like, okay, so now we got to argue about Russia, and we feel like, you know, America's been... And by the way, Trump's also got some kind of axe to grind here, because they made up that whole Russia thing. It's now in the public, the machinations that went on behind the scenes. You had all these people who were funded by the Hillary Clinton campaign in 2016, making up stories about Russian disinformation, Russian Facebook hacks. Russia tried to steal their election. Remember all of that?
That stuff all made up.
It is now comprehensively destroyed in the media. I mean, there's no one. Adam Schiff, the guy I think he's now a senator, but he was a congressman for the Democrats, was like sitting out there pushing this story until it became clear that it was paid for by the Hillary Clinton campaign. It was purely made up. It was a disinformation campaign. The same people who always warn you about mis and disinformation, they're usually the ones doing it. So that has been totally refuted. And you can look this up. You don't have to believe me. Go get on the internet. Get on ChatGPT, like I showed you for the 5 things, okay? Just get on there and see for yourself. You don't have to be an idiot. If you choose to be an idiot, I don't know why you're watching us, because we don't really have time for that here. But go and have a look, because all of that was going on for the last 8-9 years. And it's just enough now. We don't have to believe this crap anymore. And people aren't going to be led by the nose anymore. So when you see a little bit of, ooh, that looks real, people shouting at each other, ooh, like, just grow up. And be grateful in your own life every day for the things that other people are doing for you. Like, thank you very much to the taxi driver who doesn't smash into you. That's great. Thanks.
Although I kind of expect him not to.
Oh, gratitude, you know? All right. Let's look at this. Australia's national security sucks big time. They won't protect us from China's increasing harm and threats towards us. We need our stronger allies like the UK and US to protect us. Yeah, but you guys also, Australia have been trying to have it both ways too for the last while. And you've got a complicated situation there because China is expanding its influence throughout the Pacific. And that's kind of where you guys live. Instead of buttering up
in the Pacific.
If you just butted up the US properly, you'd have support. You'd have a strong ally. But you also can't keep a government for more than 3 weeks in Australia. They're always changing. You noticed?
Yeah.
Always. Oh, I can't believe we've got a new government. Oh, no. What the hell happened here?
Yeah.
All right. How much of those weapons that Ukraine got landed up in the hands of the worst people in the world? That's another thing, right? Is a lot of those weapons have come all the way around to South America and Central America and are making their way back into the United States with these illegal immigrants. It's like, how did we sent these to Ukraine? How could they be here now? Zelensky couldn't answer basic questions. Useless. Mapello says that whole war is so unnecessary. Putin and Zelensky should have negotiated like adults because honestly, Russia is the biggest country in the world. They don't really need more land, but they want it. That Vlad has got his eyes on it. He's like, I want this is what I want. Why didn't Zelensky wear a suit? He never does. He's cosplaying. Okay, actors love this. They go to wardrobe and they get a outfit.
I wonder what his wardrobe looks like.
All right, so Ernst Rutz and Tucker Carlson's interview gets released tonight. Ernst said the lefties might lose their mind after watching the interview. Looking forward to it, says Ricky. Yeah, that'll be interesting. So that's Ernst Rutz, who resigned from AfriForum. So something's happening there. Maybe he'll reveal all tonight, but we'll see. The weapons the U.S. supplied never made it to the Ukraine front, says John Bad Dog. Nail on the head. They're the biggest country in the world, says Straya. Elon Musk doesn't wear a suit in the Oval Office, says Super Mega Lulz. Okay, Elon is not a politician, and he's not sitting with a world leader. He's sitting there with his boss, and he dresses like a tech bro because he's a tech bro. I don't know how to break this to you, but
he doesn't know how else to dress.
Yeah, this is it. Zelensky was fine with wearing a suit and tie until the war broke out. Now he's cosplaying.
He says he'll go back into a suit and tie after the war.
Okay, well, you know what? Maybe you found the chink in my armor. Maybe, if Elon doesn't, then neither does Zelensky. All right, well, if this is the argument you want to get into, you win. Okay, great. Let's move on. Marcel says, in the bigger picture, China is the real problem, not Russia. Oh, shame. Is that for real or is that photoshopped? Wow. He looks like he's going to sing at a wedding.
He's literally on a stage with red velvet curtains.
Yeah, okay. Can we move on from this now, says Tabo. Sorry, Tabo, I forgot that this was your show. It's called the Tabo Pali Show. Yeah. And we're just the guest hosts for today. But yes, I think we should move on with this. It was just the biggest story of the weekend, and I can't believe. At one point, you can't believe.
You can't believe
that people are so upset about this. Why are you gay, Zelensky? Says Bitcoin Buddha. Hey, play that clip of the kids with the torches.
Yeah! Holy Ghost fire again! Yeah, you there! Yeah! Yeah!
Sure.
Why are you gay?
Sure. Okay. This is getting out of hand. Apparently, Japan had a terrible wildfire. Do you care about this?
Well, I mean, it's going on all over the world, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, okay. So near Ofunato, I'm not going to pretend I know where that is. About 3,000 people had to evacuate. Apparently, it's already spanned an estimated 1,800 hectares. More than 80 buildings have been destroyed and one life lost. 17,000 firefighters and military helicopters are fighting the blaze. I mean, that's huge for Japan. That's really awful.
It's big in Japan.
There it is. Look at that. Jesus.
Sure. It's becoming a thing all over the world. What's going on? The whole place is burning.
All right, well, I'll tell you what I am interested in, because I don't know if that's a big story for South Africans, but here in this country, we've been talking about semigration for the longest time.
To Cape Town.
Yeah, so this is where people who can afford it decide, I don't want to live in Joburg anymore. I'm going to move to Cape Town or wherever else in the country. And then they move to Cape Town because that's where everything's cool and everything works and blah, blah, blah. So a growing number of South Africans are now reversing their semigration and returning to Johannesburg due to return to office policies, career growth opportunities, and cost of living considerations.
That's the thing.
So while many previously moved to Western Cape for lifestyle reasons, always a terrible thing. Don't ever make decisions based on lifestyle.
Yeah, or
Okay.
like
They use that word to
places where
describe
you go
everything.
on holiday to.
But people talk. What is a lifestyle? Just tell me about that, because that's a made up word from magazines.
And also, if you're not earning
the
money,
80s.
you can't live any kind of
Yeah,
lifestyle.
A lifestyle. You know what? You live, right? And part of being alive is that you work because you need money. But far more important than needing money is that you need to have something to wake up for in the morning. There needs to be something worth living for.
I mean, this isn't to say that there aren't successful companies and businesses in Cape Town.
Of course there are.
There are, but they're few and far between when you look at the density compared to in Joburg.
Listen, when you have a lot of options, you work out which option is going to be best for you. And if your options work out like, ooh, Cape Town's best for me, you go with my blessing. A lot of people have left other parts of South Africa to go to Cape Town because it's beautiful. There's wine, the mountain, all of this shit. Those are not good reasons. Those are stupid.
The DA.
That DA. I mean, those are stupid reasons. They really are. Like, I've never met anyone who goes, the reason I moved, like smart people you take seriously, the reason I moved is because, the DA really has got those Ria Vaya buses working properly. Said no one ever. Everybody knows the Western Cape has problems just like other parts of South Africa. It is run better on the whole. There are less potholes, streetlights that are out, places that you think this place is in complete deterioration. There's a lot less of that in the Western Cape. And whatever your reason might have been, you probably have personal reasons too. Like maybe you got family there, or
like I moved for love.
Yeah, you moved for love. You moved to start again.
And then I moved back here for unlove.
Yes, no, that's a good point. But apparently now people are starting to, the rubber hits the road and they're like, okay, well, this was a bad decision. So rising property prices, it's like these fundamentals that should be part of the consideration before you decide to move anywhere. Rising property prices in Cape Town have made Johannesburg's more affordable and spacious housing market attractive. Additionally, infrastructure challenges in the Western Cape have led to some reconsidering their move. As a result, the demand for homes in Johannesburg, particularly in secure estates and business-friendly suburbs, is on the up. So that's interesting because I think a lot of people in Johannesburg, Pretoria, this sort of area, especially where there's a lot of economic activity, people are like, ooh, the housing market's going to fall to pieces. Better sell now. Well, turns out, no, actually, there are going to be demand. There will be demand for homes in places like Johannesburg. So it's not all bad.
There's still
Hang on there.
space. It's still growing. It's still, you look at Waterfall and these big cities. But also, you need to remember that your salary is going to be different in Cape Town. It is not proportionate to living, being able to afford. Yeah.
Oh.
And a lot of that has to do with Airbnb and tourism. But the salary is different. There are fewer opportunities.
James, you want to give us some sport? Let's do it. How about that? Let's see what you have in your sport, in your up the sleeve of sport that you carry around.
Your repertoire.
Oh, there he is. Here comes James. This is very exciting. Dun, da, da, dun, da, da, da. We should have had like intro music for him.
He's got a long way to walk, you
I
know.
know. It's quite a walk. He has to go round and round, and it's all very exciting. Okay, so what happened over the weekend? We had URC, FA Cup, South African Open Golf, and ICC Champions Trophy, because Ben already warned me about all of those.
Those were all things we had
Okay.
this weekend.
So where do you want to start, James?
Can I start with Accrington Stanley?
Sure
I knew
you
this
can.
is going to come out.
Accrington Stanley. Let's go.
They lost again. 2-1
Ever since you guys
I
noticed
know,
them.
right?
They've gone
pressure.
to pot.
So they lost 2-1 to Harrogate Town, which means they are good and proper in the relegation battle in their league, which you hate to see. So T's and P's to Accrington Stanley. There was also FA Cup action this weekend. Man City, they played Plymouth Argyle. I think that should be the next team we follow. I like that name, Plymouth Argyle. They beat them 3-1. Newcastle, they lost to
I can't believe there are all these stupid teams. I really can't.
Harrogate Town.
Yeah, great.
Newcastle, they lost to Brighton 2-1. Nottingham Forest, they play Ipswich tonight in the FA Cup. Then there was also Betway Premiership this weekend. Sundowns, they beat Chiefs 1-0. Pirates lost 2-0 to Gallants. Pirates have turned into Arsenal, is what's happened there. In the world of URC, quite a lot of rugby happened this weekend. The Lions, they played the Sharks 38-14 to the Lions there. Leinster, they played Cardiff 42-24 to Leinster. The Bulls and the Stormers, the Bulls lost 16-19 in a very rainy Loftus Stadium. Ulster, they beat Scarlets 30-28, and Glasgow, I'm sorry, I tried.
I'm sorry, that was very loud. Did you hear that, everyone?
Elephant. I just bumped into an elephant in the passage
And
outside.
I looked at you, because I thought it maybe was Flex. But you weren't there, and
He
I
wasn't
realized
even
it was you.
All right, carry on.
Goodness gracious.
It's very exciting this week.
Glasgow, they lost to Ospreys 31-32. The Champions Trophy, these are Ben's words. SA pumped the Poms, and the Indians beat the Kiwis. So here are the semis. He says India versus Australia, 11 o'clock from 5-star Dubai on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, South Africa play New Zealand at 11 o'clock.
I
from
saw
some
them-
shithole stadium in Pakistan.
I saw them playing at that stadium in Dubai.
I didn't.
Yeah, there were like 4 New Zealand supporters
That
and like thousands of Indian supporters.
Mm.
is their sport.
Is it a fancy stadium?
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay.
Or
Yeah, it's
Ben
okay.
called it the 5-star Dubai.
Yeah, it's way better than the Pakistan one.
Yeah.
Well, the one he called some
That's like a-
shithole in Pakistan.
It's like a tumble down, broken. Like it looks like it was built in 1200. It's just so shit compared to the Dubai one. So yes, okay.
Wednesday, South Africa play the Kiwis at 11 in that shithole Pakistani stadium. And that is mostly the sport.
All right.
Actually, very
Yeah, well,
short.
you
Sweet.
don't seem so sure.
I am.
Okay, are you really? Then on your way.
Okay. I'll get on my bike.
Off you go. Bye bye. That was great. Don't you look forward to the sport every Monday? All right, let's see what we got here. They plan to humiliate. You see, people are still on this thing. So Tabo, I'm sorry. I know it's your show, but
The people
Rivka
keep
says
pulling it back.
they plan to humiliate Zelensky. They were horrible. Gareth doesn't like Putin. Really, you're horribly wrong. You Trump fan.
Oh,
That's the argument being leveled.
not worth it.
You're an idiot. John Bad Dog says, Gareth, telling people to hit that MF like button actually works. Just hit the like button. I just subscribe and like it. I always forget to do this at the start of every show. I know these professional YouTubers are like, you got to like and subscribe. And then I watch some of them because I subscribe to some channels. And then in the middle of the channel, they're like, we'll tell you in a minute what you want to hear about the top 10 X, Y, and Z. But first, don't forget to subscribe and like and get notifications and all this stuff.
Now you've done it.
Yeah, I did it. All right. So thank you for the reminder. Well done, James. Nice sports segment, says Congo Chris.
Sports segment. And now the sports segment.
All right. Very good. Bitcoin Bot says, James, you missed the boxing on Sunday morning. Useless. Are you watching boxing? Is that a thing that we do? Okay. All right. And then Leigh-Ann has some things she wants to talk to us about this morning that she's seriously pissed off about.
So angry.
Which countries are perceived as the most corrupt? Well, have you got a list?
It's a map, actually. Love a
heat
good
map.
map. Yes.
Okay, tell me more.
It's like a heat map. So
Oh, look at that. Corruption.
red is the bad.
Yeah. How come we're only in like an orange?
I know. I was
thought
quite
we were-
surprised.
Like, guys, don't you think that's bullshit, right? That's bullshit. We should be bright red. I thought we were leading the world in corruption.
This is the Corruption Perceptions Index. And I thought, what rubbish is this?
Yeah, but you see the
Corruption Perceptions.
The word perception is what ruins it.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
this is what people think. And what do people really... We know a lot of Americans don't even know where these places are on the
Yeah,
map.
of course.
So, yeah, I thought...
Go back to the map, guys. I want to see the
It
map.
comes from Transparency International.
Uh-huh.
That made me feel a little bit better.
Well, who the hell are they?
I don't know. They're perceived to be transparent.
Yeah, they're perceived. All these organizations, the longer I'm alive, the more I believe most of these places that have these names that sound like they're the good guys.
Could have been made up in a
the
garage.
Institute for Peace or the World Kindness Forum. And you find out that they're like wretched political actors getting involved in stuff that nobody asked them to.
And their forum is 10 people big.
Yeah, and they live off of like foreign aid money. It's just terrible. So I don't know if I believe this Transparency International crew, but let's go. They say we're not the most corrupt country in the world.
No.
Who did they say is the worst?
Because
there are a couple there. I see Sudan is looking pretty bad.
I don't
Libya,
have a list of the worst. They didn't.
Venezuela
list
looks awful. Bangladesh doesn't look so great.
Russia's not looking good, and it's a lot of red.
That's a lot of red.
Country.
And then we're in the same.
Central Africa is apparently the pits.
Yeah, but then we're in the same company as kind of Brazil, India.
Yeah, how are we like one of the least corrupt countries
Turkey,
of Africa?
What happens? Greenland's in grey, and James is confused. So let's explain to James and anyone else who's confused. There are about 10 people in the whole of Greenland.
It's where the Kindness Forum
exactly,
from.
And they live right on the coast, and they all have one boat to get to Iceland or to Canada, depending on where they're going. So they don't ask them because they don't have TV or the internet. And
they just know about fish.
Yeah, and they don't know about corruption. They haven't got there yet. Okay, they're still fishing.
I can tell you the best territories or countries.
Yeah. Let's go. Let these guys boast.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is the top 10.
Okay, top 10.
Australia,
least corrupt countries.
in 10th position.
Okay.
Netherlands, Sweden,
Right.
Switzerland, Norway,
Okay.
Luxembourg. New Zealand is 4th. Singapore is 3rd.
Okay.
Then Finland and Denmark. Denmark being the least corrupt perception-wise.
All right. Well, that's Greenland
Um,
because Denmark owns Greenland.
So Sub-Saharan Africa had the lowest regional scores with an average of 33. South Sudan ranked as the most corrupt country in
There we go.
2024.
South Sudan.
Mm.
All right.
And how do they measure it? Well, they look at countries, political leaders who are fueling violence, obstructing peace, perpetuating gross human rights violations through impunity and corruption, systematic sexual violence, forced child recruitment, and numerous incidents of human rights abuses perpetrated by government and military officials.
Sounds great. Okay, so I think we need to talk about the other big thing that was trending over the weekend. Is that dude who was driving that very, very fast sports car, very, very fast, in a residential neighborhood in Cape Town, and then crashed.
Yeah.
You often hear about like these young guys, it's usually men in their 20s who somehow have got money. Maybe their dad gives them money or they've stolen it or whatever. And they go to a car dealership and they buy an expensive Lamborghini or Ferrari or something like that. And then they usually crash it within a few hours of having it. You hear this often.
Yes.
Look at this fucking douchebag, okay? This idiot. There he is posing in the front of this car. That's him sitting in the bonnet, which is actually the boot because the engine goes at the back. He's wearing like pajamas.
So I'll give you some context.
Who is he and what do we know?
Nobody came forward about this at first. No one knew who he was. This happened in Sea Point. He was traveling at 200 kilometers an hour
Jesus.
in a residential area. We do actually have footage of...
Have you got the video of the car driving and spinning out of control? Because this is unreal. You don't have it? Okay, well, we'll look for that in the meantime. But tell us.
Absolutely ridiculous. Lost control and went into a residential wall. Luckily, no one was killed, but he was obviously injured, and so was his passenger.
Oh, you had a passenger as well?
Had a passenger too. And this is his 7 million rand McLaren, by the way.
So
And
who is this guy?
it's a rapper from Nigeria.
Yeah.
He apparently lives in Cape Town for some of the year.
Is he quite well known? Because if
His name is, and I'm probably going to butcher it, but the number 3 and then capital GAR, baby. 3GAR. Is it 3GAR?
Okay, so if he must be very, very successful, because I don't know that rap is generating the money that it used to, okay? And if he can afford a 7 million rand car, you said it was?
McLaren 570S coupe.
We need to
He
know
was,
more about this guy. Is that the one sitting in the pajamas?
yeah, that's
With the
him.
blood all over his face.
That's him.
Show that picture again. Man-child. Okay, so that's him. That's the fucked car in the middle. And that's him sitting there on the right with some like liberal white woman who's like trying to be the
Yes,
Jesus.
there
or
were-
whatever.
there were
It's
a
always
few of
someone, right?
those.
There's always that. Are you right?
Are you okay, sweetie? Just
Yeah.
wait.
Are you a rapper?
Just
Oh.
hold on. The ambulance is coming. See?
Okay, yeah. Let me just. You want some
My
water?
goodness, why were you going so fast?
I've got a bottle
Sure.
of Panados here if you really got a headache.
Sure.
Okay, so
So
I don't know.
anyway, he's said on one of his social media platforms, nah, small thing remain. Could have been all over. Can't stop thanking God for life.
So you can't speak fucking English.
No, he can't speak English.
Okay.
But also,
Just read that again.
nah, comma, small thing remain.
Okay.
Okay. Could have been all over, exclamation mark. I can't stop thanking God for life. This he captioned in a selfie of himself, selfie while he was getting medical attention.
Okay. This is a very, very stupid person. Extremely stupid person. This person has a very low IQ and should never be put behind the steering wheel of a car that can go 200 kilometers an hour. I mean, is that a controversial thing to say? Would you want to live in a country where you could be walking on the street? This was during the day, right?
Yeah.
You could be walking with your child to the shops. You could be going in Cape Town you could be going to the beach.
Yeah.
Okay. You're walking with your kid. And this retard who can't express there he goes. He could smash into you and your kid. Hey, look at this. Extremely stupid person. You know, what we've got to do is we've got to start being honest about these kinds of people and really weeding them out. I don't know where this guy got the money. He's certainly not smart enough to have made this money on his own as a rapper. There's no way.
So according to various Nigerian publications, 3GAR baby,
Yeah.
real name Prince Daniel Obioma.
As he's a prince as well.
Maybe his name's just Prince.
Jesus.
Hails from Rivers State in Nigeria. Now appears to live in Cape Town in a sprawling mansion.
Okay.
Last month, he released an EP titled Grace, which has 6 tracks, also known for singles Be My 4 and Hustle Na Must. Sorry,
Fuck.
can't say those things seriously.
Okay,
But this guy is all over his social
I'm
media.
sorry. This is so embarrassing. We should expel this person back to Nigeria. This is bad for us.
Evict
We
them.
can't have someone like this in society. We can't.
No,
It's a
not
very
good.
stupid person. Okay? This is not good.
No.
And like the fact that no one else got hurt is miraculous. Who goes? I think that's High Level Road, right? It
Yes,
looks
it
familiar
is.
to me.
Yeah.
So just show that again. Like this is not a person who should be in
Then
charge
this is
of
slowed
any
down, obviously.
heavy equipment ever. Look at this. Boom. You don't actually see the impact though, but
Yeah, it cuts off just before for some reason.
okay. So everyone was talking about this. The car's ruined. That's 7 million rand in just car that's gone.
Yeah.
This guy lives in a sprawling mansion. Just take it away. The city of Cape Town should say, you know what? If you do this in our city, we're allowed to attach a whole lot of your stuff and make the city safer with that money.
I'll tell you, South Africans are not happy with this.
I'm sure. And we shouldn't
And
be.
that was before they knew that he was from Nigeria.
What's his name again? E-U-A. What?
Obiamo. Prince.
E-E-U.
No, come on.
No? What's his name?
Prince something Obiamo.
E-E-U-A-U. What?
I can't say it.
My God is good. What is his name? What?
I can't.
Okay.
Prince Obiamo.
My brother. Okay, no, just go back to Nigeria and fucking get out of here. Because, dude, I can tell you right now, this is not going to go well. South Africans hate this
Yeah,
shit.
they've condemned this guy.
Like, just remember, we're a country, like, except that woman. Everyone else in the country hates this guy, right? Like, they hate him. And look at him. He's in pajamas. Like, who goes for a drive in pajamas at 200 kilometers an hour? You're a very stupid
his designer
person.
outfit. He was in that outfit in another picture where he was saying God is great.
He needs a new designer as well. And let me tell you, you may think that of God, but at this point, God is making you look a bit bloody stupid. So I don't think he loves you as much as you think he.
Apparently, his passenger wasn't wearing a seatbelt.
Oh, is the passenger all right? Or
Passenger's fine. They both just had minor injuries.
Okay.
So I don't know how stupid you have to be to not
oh,
wear
yoba, says Slippery Pickle. Oh, wow. Matthew, what are you on? Cape Town doesn't suck. It's one of the most beautiful cities in the world, says someone. Morg says the movie Idiocracy was written by fortune tellers, friends. The stupid have risen beyond their station. Gareth, I want to know why this cunt isn't in jail, says Lee.
Lock him up.
So what
People
happens?
Who speed like this and endanger lives must serve jail.
Yeah,
time.
don't
He
you
could
go
have
to
killed
jail,
people.
though, when you've... I suppose he hasn't...
Surely there's going to be something.
What's he done? He hasn't killed anybody, and he hasn't... He's damaged, like, the street, maybe. He's damaged the
residence
curbstones
wall.
or the residence wall. So there's probably a civil claim against him. The accident was at 6 a.m. in the morning. Sea Point community's up in arms about it. Yeah.
So someone with too much money and privilege in his hands and too little self-respect, discipline, and intelligence. Let's be the change.
Oh, wow. People are angry, hey? Even in our comments, they're like, go get back to Nigeria, you son of a bitch. I just can't believe that this guy's like a famous rapper and we've never heard of him, ever. Like
I don't know. Maybe we're old.
No, I honestly don't think I think it's just a front.
Okay.
He's probably got like extremely rich parents who are just trying to launder money through him. Something like that. We've got to investigate. Like this is where I really wish we had the capacity inside of South African police to really investigate people. Like to get to the bottom of how does this guy have a sprawling mansion in Cape Town and a 7 million rand car? How? Like if nobody has ever heard of him, there's got to be something going on there. We just got to figure it out.
Well, I mean, he only admitted it on social media last night that it was him.
Oh, really?
So there hasn't been much time to get to the bottom of this, but we'll see.
He seems a nice guy. Let's just forgive and forget, says Congo Chris.
Shame.
That's unacceptable. Once you lose control of the car, you can't control who it affects, says Mapello. Where are the hawks now? Well, Debbie says every Lamborghini and Maserati in Sea Point that is seen currently is driven by a Nigerian rapper at the moment. It's a huge trend. Homotso says, obviously drug money. Gareth, he got his money 300 to 500 rand at a time. Yonder says, I know for a fact that these guys are just a front and into illegal things.
Yeah.
Is he the Nigerian prince that left me money as an inheritance? Says Gary. Okay, that's great. All right, we've got to take a break. When we come back, we'll carry on with a whole lot more. But there we go. Careful of guys in white Lamborghinis and Maseratis and McLarens and all that shit. I just think suspicion, like alarm bells should go off if anyone under the age of 35 buys one of those cars. If anyone under 35
it's a red flag.
Yeah, buys a car worth more than 3 or 4 million rand, everyone should go, ooh, need to do a little investigation here first. And I'm not trying to ruin it for you if you're in your 20s and you happen to have a couple of million rand lying around. Go and get a car. But we should still be able to ask questions. Like, where did you get this money?
And why are you gay?
All right, we'll be back in a minute.
I'm the victim.
Yeah.
Of potholes. I drive sports cars. You can't fix potholes when they are wet. You cannot work on a road surface that is wet. The biggest problem with people complaining at this particular time, it happens every year. From December up until February, there's heavy rains that are happening.
Yes.
Now, water is the biggest enemy of road, of asphalt. What we would call tar.
Yes, it washes
So
the roads
that is
away.
why you would find a lot of potholes during this time. And unfortunately, you can't fix potholes when they are wet. You cannot work on a road surface that is wet. So which is why the potholes will take longer to fix at this particular time.
Of course.
But once the rain has stopped, you will see JRA working. But it doesn't mean we do not work. We do respond where it gets dry. The teams go out and they go and fix. The only work that we do during a rainy time or when it rains is unblocking of stormwater drains and so on and so on. But the road infrastructure we cannot touch when it's wet because it will be waste of asphalt.
Maybe like, yeah, just only a picture, then I'll send you maybe $500, whatever.
There are fetishes that people have. Toes, they are toe OnlyFans people. Like OnlyFans woman just shoots her toes and people buy the
They
toe
get paid, ne?
They get paid for toes. Have you found men like wanting to pay to see your breasts or sexually for your
Yeah, I
breasts?
get
Or
that a
fetishes
lot.
like that? What
Cause-
happened?
No, I just only got a DM on TikTok.
Yeah.
No, I have like, I think 1,000 messages on TikTok.
Sure.
Yeah.
For
Then,
guys saying
yeah, please, send me your boobs for $800. So I'm like, baby, look.
$800.
dollars. That's like 16,000 rand, 15,000 rand. Eh?
Is it 50,000?
Gee whiz, and you got 1,000 of those.
And Sister Bettina's
Yeah.
looking at you right now like, hey,
I want gigantic.
where's my grandmother to sweep these things?
We've commodified women's bodies. So, like, even something that for you is a medical condition. Like, how crazy is that?
People are so
It's
crazy.
a medical condition, and people are like, I'll pay to see that. Like, who's gonna
Guys,
be like,
there's
yo, you've got a huge
OnlyFans
growth on your
women
back?
fall pregnant. I'm not saying they fall pregnant to do this, but pregnant women go and do OnlyFans while they're pregnant because there's guys who want to see a pregnant woman doing certain things to.
Well, good morning. I hope your day is off to an awesome start. It's Monday. It is already the 3rd of March. The 3rd of March. That's right.
The turd of the turd.
That's right. And Leigh-Ann is here. And she was just telling us about very, very corrupt countries. And we spoke a little bit about that chap who drove his car quite fast in Sea Point. What a nice chap. And crashed it in his pajamas or whatever. Leigh-Ann says it was a designer suit. But the guy's, I mean, like, what happened to rappers? Rappers used to be like fearsome and like gangster. You know, the term gangster rap was there before rap was there. And
You're very obsessed about his pajamas.
I'll tell you why, because I'm actually a rap fan. Like, you know this from the 90s and the 2000s. And when people were real rappers, they used to rap about real things. It was a skill. Like, you got all these dumb second-rate rappers now. And they don't even dress like rappers are meant to dress. I mean, that guy looks like it's like a Teletubby.
Rappers It's all about
You had to have
where they've
cred.
grown up.
You had to have
It's
street cred.
credits.
You had to have like
You've
something
been in
to
a
say.
gang.
Yeah, but you had to
you
have
know,
something to say. You
You've
probably
been shot a few times.
yeah, like you've got some stories, right? Like this guy
These
looks
people
like
did not grow up in the hood.
no, definitely not. Look, you see, this is my problem. How rappers used to dress, how they dress now. See?
Look, I don't
That's true. Come on, Leigh-Ann, don't fight
yeah,
with
but
me.
I don't think the one on the left is very scary either. I think I'd be more scared of the one on the right if I were approached at night down an alleyway.
Okay. Durban has so many sports cars and supercars, but there are speed bumps almost everywhere, especially in Musgrave, speed bump every 50 meters.
And those
First of
cars
all,
have to go extra slowly over speed bumps.
Mapelo, first of all, stop lying. Durban does not have that many sports cars. Stop. Okay. There are no rich people in Durban. Okay. There are slightly wealthier than the rest of Durban people,
Mhm.
but not like rich people. Doesn't
No.
happen. Not Durban. Okay. So stop lying. You don't have to lie just to make Durban look good. I think if Zelensky had 3G mobile and had worn a suit this weekend, horrible things could have been avoided. Terrible things could have been avoided. Rappers became friends with Democrats, says Pumlani. So we're mixing up a lot of different things here.
Jeez.
70 IQ driving a 120 IQ car. Well, that's more like it, Paul. So yeah. See their asses speeding at 6 a.m. around the Strand, is what people say. All these people walking around in pajamas these days. Go and get some clothes. Yeah,
It's
you
just
see.
because when the top matches the bottom, it doesn't make them pajamas. But okay.
I know, Leigh-Ann, but it does look like pajamas. And honestly, I did go to the shops the other day and I did see
Actual pajamas.
there was a
yeah.
woman in slippers.
Mm.
Look, I don't know. She must have a very hard life because her kids were there with her and they were making a big noise. And I think she has a tough time. I think her life is hard. And she probably just looked in the cupboard that morning and thought, I don't have it in me. These fucking kids are driving me insane. I'm going to put on the slippers and the pajamas and I'm just going to go to the shops like this.
No, is it that or is it because it's old now, but it was a trend?
No, she just doesn't care. Like you could see, she doesn't care. She hadn't made
I've gone in my
any.
slippers by mistake once. I was in the queue and I looked down and I had on very big fluffy slippers.
Really? You
Yes.
just didn't know when you'd left home that was it?
It was during COVID, so it was like
Oh God.
where everything was kind of borderline,
Still
and I was very embarrassed.
unacceptable.
Very embarrassed.
All right. When Mapelo says sports car, he means a Ford Cortina with a turbo kit. That's Durban's idea of.
There's the fans on the
Yeah,
back
exactly.
of the window.
There are lots of pajama llamas driving supercars around Camps Bay all the time. You see, it is a thing.
Mm.
It's an American thing, the pajama culture in the stores. Slippery Pickle says, wait, hang on. It's always these poor people, says Lee, having all these kids. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, that happens too.
Yeah, Lee, you know what? Not today, hey. Not today. We're not
We've
going to
been
go there
angry
today.
too much.
Yeah,
too
yeah.
many
I want
times
to. I
this
want to
morning.
actually calm everything down. Everybody, take a big deep breath and let's start again. Are you ready?
Oh,
There. Okay, let's just all calm down, right, Leigh-Ann? Right. Start again.
forgive the pajama llamas.
Okay. Quickly, the mysterious death of Gene Hackman and his wife. Now,
Mm.
this is something that came up on Friday's show. I want to quickly sort it out because I'm still confused. Gene Hackman and his wife and the dog were all found dead, right?
Yes.
So I don't know what happened here. Was she a Chinese spy?
Listen, for all I know, after
Is
all the
that-
theories.
Is that what happened?
So another expert is weighing in on this. And now
That the dog plot against both of them. Is that what happened?
I wouldn't be surprised if
Or
that was one
was-
of the theories.
Or was Gene Hackman, like so many other actors in Hollywood, severely depressed and took them all out at the same time? What happened?
So apparently the latest is that this is an expert weighing in, right? So
Okay.
they may not have actually been on the scene. Something to do with his pacemaker
Oh my God.
makes them believe that he was the first, to go.
Oh.
But apparently there could have been problems with his pacemaker. Then they think
So what, the dog went, oh, I can't live without him.
the wife who was rushing to either phone for help or to get certain medication, slipped and fell and hit her head.
Wow. And then what happened to the dog? Because there's a lot of, there needs to be a huge concatenation of issues here for this to occur exactly the way that you've said.
While all of this was going on, there was also a gas leak.
Oh.
And the dog.
Yeah, I believe this.
And then another theory about the dog being locked up for 9 days and so didn't have food and water. So it's another reason why it could have died.
Wow, this is
so
you're
bizarre.
Expecting a lot from me to. I mean, I believe that the Nigerian rapper wasn't wearing pajamas before I believe this fucking story. This sounds like a lot of nonsense, Leigh-Ann.
The dog poisoned them all.
So this is whoever. Okay, so the person who's proffering us this version of events is a so-called expert.
Mm.
In what? In bullshit?
No, those people, pathology.
Yeah, fantasy pathology. He's a scriptwriter for like CSI. This sounds like nonsense to me. So, okay, so Gene Hackman, the pacemaker, goes faulty. So he has a heart attack.
Mm.
Then his wife goes, oh, Jesus Christ. She runs to the phone. On the way, she slips and like she's gone. And then the dog goes, shit, it's all happening. I better join in the fun.
Okay, this is forensic pathologist Dr. Michael Baden.
Well, this guy
speaking to Fox News.
Yeah, sounds like an idiot. Go on.
The last recorded event on Hackman's pacemaker could be a significant clue. The event would have been a cardiac arrest caused by an abnormal pulse rate. The pacemaker keeps track of the pulse when it goes all in the record, they say.
Yeah.
Baden also theorized that Arakawa, that's the wife's surname,
right?
Her death could have occurred during an accident while she tried to help her husband. As she tried to find her husband's pills, Baden added, she may have struck her head on the way down and had some internal injury to the brain that doesn't show up on the outside or bleeding on the inside of the brain. The forensic expert, sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm already, I'm losing it.
Also added that there could be a possibility of cardiac arrest for her as well, seeing that she might also have heart disease at 65.
But he's pulling this out of where? The sky? This is not an expert. This guy is a scriptwriter for some Hollywood show. He's in it.
But he was on Fox News. It must be true.
Yeah, so, well, please. We know that the news media are just about as reliable as fantasy from Hollywood. So how does the dog, I mean, this is the part that I don't get. Like, how does the dog buy into the whole let's all die at the same time narrative?
Well, speaking of the dog's tragic fate, he said, because of the dog, I think that the carbon monoxide theory was a good one, with them breathing in the same air. But it turns out, from what they say, the dog was constrained in his cage or kennel.
Cage?
And would have, in America, they cage dogs at night.
Jesus.
And would have died from just dehydration and a lack of water during the 9-day period that he couldn't get out of the kennel. 9 days. What?
I mean, what is Gene Hackman running there? Like, what do you got going on? Is that the dog? I'm so glad you showed me the dog, because I was feeling bad that we kept seeing pictures of her and him, but none of the dog. So that's where they lived.
So this is bizarre.
Yeah. Well, cheers, all three of you. I mean, it's,
my gosh,
pretty awful for that whole family. But then they all got to go at the same time.
No one has to.
All arrived at the pearly gates at the same time. Gene Hackman's like, hey, Akanawarawa, and hey, puppy, all at the same. What was her name?
I'll find it for you again.
Yeah. Great. This is nice.
Betsy Arakawa.
There we go. Hey, Betsy. Hey, puppy. What was his name?
I don't know the dog's name.
Come on, Leigh-Ann. What kind of a journalist are you?
Well, maybe the pathologist can surmise what the dog's name was.
Yeah, wait. I'll just make
judging
it up.
From the photographs.
Like that guy made up how it could have been carbon monoxide, but then it could also have been his pacemaker, but then it could also have been her bumping her head. Where's this guy getting this stuff from?
I don't know.
The dog's name was Cinderella.
Cinderella.
Yeah, the dog's name was Cinderella.
Poor Cinderella did not have a happy ending.
No, I mean, it's just a horrible story. So, you know what? Like Hollywood actors, it always takes them a long time to figure out what happened. Remember Matthew Perry?
Mm-hmm.
Found him in the jacuzzi or whatever.
That's still going on.
Exactly. We still don't know what happened there.
Well, we kind of do.
No, we don't.
Yeah, it was
pills.
Yeah, no, I think maybe even injectables. It was some kind of very strong drug.
All right. Listen, can these Hollywood celebrities just start dying normally again? Just normal deaths, whether it isn't suspicious. We don't have all the time in the world to send police and have investigations for months. And how about you just do what good old Hollywood actors used to do when they were washed up in previous decades? And like just what did who's that guy from Michael Hutchins from In Excess? He was trying to jerk off and like throttle himself at the same time.
Thing?
Autoerotic asphyxiation.
Yes.
At least like you walk in, you know exactly what's happened there. It's just okay. We don't need to get the investigation team in here. We can see exactly what this guy was doing. He was trying to do the autoerotic asphyxiation. It's done. Sign it off. Coroner comes in, stamp, done. Get out of here.
Yeah.
This
Like
complicated
points at the body
shit.
parts and goes autoerotic asphyxiation.
You even have sign language for that.
Yeah.
So let's just get back to that, Hollywood. Like, really, you guys are letting us
They're
down.
going to be lots of movies about this.
What about Gene Hackman?
I bet you.
You think?
Yeah, if it's a big mysterious thing.
I don't think it is. It's very weird, but it's probably the explanation is so simple.
Okay, we'll see.
I think
we should take bets.
Yeah, I think she was taking magnets over his heart the whole time while he was sleeping. Come on, just go. And then eventually, he woke up and she got a fright and she had a heart attack. And then oh my God, he had a heart attack. And then the dog came and the dog was like, I can't be I don't want to be left alone. I'm going to die as well. Had a heart attack as well. I'm as good as that expert.
Yeah.
Right?
You're as believable.
Okay. Let's meet our guest for this morning, Cobus Visser. So Cobus is an internationally recognized firewalking expert. You know how much I think this is nonsense, but I thought we'd get him to explain it to me. And he's dressed like a Viking this morning. Looks like a Viking, right? Looks like he's just stepped off of the set of like The Northman or whatever.
Pronounced Viking.
A Viking? A Viking?
Viking.
I don't know. Anyway, Cobus, it's nice to have you here. Are you good?
I'm good.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me. At least I didn't come in my pajamas this morning.
Yeah, no. Then I would have been very, very pissed off with you because, I don't like rappers in pajamas. Okay, but you dress like this all the time?
Most of the time, yes.
No one's going to look for trouble with you in traffic if you dress like this, right?
Of course, yes. I look more.
You look like a Viking.
I look like a Viking. Yeah. It's part of the branding. It's part of the message.
Okay, so tell me about this firewalking stuff because people have been trying to get me to do this for years, and I'm worried I'll burn my feet.
Yeah, well, look, I've now myself walked more than 2,000 times. I've helped over 12,000 people to walk over fire. My son was 2 years old when he started walking on fire, and I've had people walking with their hands on fire that don't have legs. Now, there is science behind it.
Mean of you, though, to make them do that just because they don't have legs.
Yeah, I like the joke. I don't always have my whip with me. However, I get you to choose why you want to walk because it's more powerful when you choose. To give you an example, it's between 500 and 600 degrees Celsius. So aluminium melts around 250, and according to doctors, at 150 you get third-degree burns. Yet we walk over 500 to 600.
So how does it work?
It's all about mindset. So it's all about what you focus on. So when we walk, we chant ice cold, ice cold, ice cold, and so what you see is ice, what you hear is ice, and what you're going to feel is ice cold, right? So I sort of get you to focus on where you're going and not where you walking.
Have you done this before, Leigh-Ann?
I haven't, but I'm listening to that now. I think I saw an experiment where the person was blindfolded, and on one hand they poured icy water, and on the other not boiling, but hot water. And something about your mind, you can't tell the difference.
Yeah, look, they even took a block of ice and told the person sort of under hypnosis that it is a piece of coal. And when they touch him, it created a blister. So that just shows you how powerful your mind is. And I even brought, you say you're up for a challenge always. So I even brought a broken glass here to walk on broken glass if you're up for the challenge. And
no, totally unnecessary.
My toes just curled immediately.
No. Although, I mean, look, I can understand because I do agree with what, most people say about the power of the mind and how so many people are unable to, they're unable to deal with reality. So they almost live in a fantasy. Yeah. And then the way to bring them back to reality is to kind of make them do things like this. I mean, there are ways that, so you're a neuro-linguistic programming guy too, right? NLP.
Yeah, look, I've my life is a story about that.
Tell me. Why don't you tell us your story? How did you end up this Viking?
Yeah, I think there's a long story. However, just in some history, I was born as a hemophiliac. I don't know if you know what a hemophiliac
so you would bleed.
I bleed very easily.
And your bleeding your blood doesn't clot. So
That's
you
correct, yes.
would have bled out and died.
So because
You
of
had
all
to
the
be
bleedings,
super
you can
careful.
see my joints. I don't have elbows anymore. So you can see there. I would have loved.
Oh wow.
No muscles, yeah. So
Like Prince, like Alexei the
From
Tsarevich.
yes.
Yeah, the Tsarevich of
So
Russia.
they call it the royal disease.
Yeah.
The same with my ankle. So what firewalking did for me and helped me is during my process when I walked, after 2 years, I ended up being in a wheelchair. I couldn't walk. And the doctor said, I have to fuse both my ankles. I have to replace my elbows. So the future looked like being in a wheelchair for life. And because of the lessons I've learned in firewalking about that your body can heal itself. Your body have the capacity to regenerate itself. And so with NLP neuro-linguistic, I reprogrammed my mind to believe that I'm getting healthier and healthier every day. And so part of my story in 2018, I went to climb Kilimanjaro with my crutches.
Wow.
And I was still in crutches by then. And you saw me walking in basically
Yeah.
normal. And yet I went for last year for x-rays. My joints is worse than they were in 2018.
But you don't feel it, or you are aware of it?
I'm aware of it. Look, I wake up in pain every morning. And especially on cold mornings like this, I can feel it, the pain in my joints, so every movement is painful. And the Viking part of it is the power of being fearless. One of them, they were very fearless. They weren't scared to dying, and they were always going on a quest, on challenges. But also they lived by creed. They had a strong faith, and they had strong values of persistencies, perseverance, etc.
Okay, no, I think that's an amazing story. I didn't know the hemophilia thing. Obviously, that's an ongoing situation in life that doesn't make it very easy for you. If you bump yourself, or you scratch yourself, or you cut yourself, it's fucking dangerous for you.
Definitely. And I even have a scar on my head now that you can't see, of how I had bleeding on the brain, that I almost died a few times.
Gosh.
So it's like you say, any small bump, any small bruise
that's
is a challenge for me. And that's why I do stuff like the firewalking and glass walking, is to showcase to people and give them the experience, to show that we don't have to be defined by our past and by our circumstances, but we can rise above
You know
it.
what they should do is Lego walking. That's going to be the most sore of all. If
It is more painful.
If anyone has kids, or you have like I have two little nephews, whenever they leave the Lego lying around, that's more painful than firewalking or broken glass.
Yeah, it could make the holiest of people swear
And say terrible things.
Look, usually at my firewalks, I have a Lego walk as well. So if they don't want to walk on the one, they walk on the other.
Oh, there you go.
So they told you weren't going to live past 25.
So when I was born, the age expectancy was 11.
Yes.
And so over a period of time, the medicine improved, etc. So I got older. I think we're getting to an age now where hemophiliacs are getting older. And the challenge that the doctors say is, what is next for us? Operations, the old age, basically, and how we're going to live through that.
No one's actually done it before, so they haven't had, been able to study it.
Yes.
I do think that all of this stuff that you're talking about, self-mastery, the fire walks, the being able to take control of your body with your mind effectively, that's what you're teaching people to do. This is very, very powerful stuff. And it clearly has a lot of resonance with people. I know there are, companies that do these getaways with their people where everybody is a part of a team builder or whatever. They do the fire walk. They do all the other things that the hot and cold stuff. It's become very, very cool and fashionable to do this. And it's not dangerous, is it? You haven't had any injuries when you...
I was saying that I've read somewhere that says danger is real, but fear is a choice.
Okay.
And I think that's the impact.
But I mean, they aren't like the crispy remains of some CEO.
No, luckily
like
not.
Some farm somewhere.
We say
it didn't work.
Look, sometimes we say people get trophies. I like to call it a trophy or a kiss. So there is some people, because when they lose focus, because when you start walking, it really feels ice cold. However, until you look down and you say, oh, this is not. And I always say fire is a teacher. So it really then teaches you and gives you a kiss, and then you have to say, you know, have respect for me. You know?
Okay, so there are occasionally people who, you know, they get hurt, but not badly.
Not badly. You know, I've worked with sports teams, so I had the opportunity to have a lifelong dream come true because I could never play rugby.
Yeah.
I worked in 2017 with the Southern Kings, and a night before a game, I had all of them walk on fire.
Nice.
And the next morning, they went on and they won the Sharks that year. They won the Bulls, and they were
nice.
almost in the quarterfinals that year.
Okay.
And there's one person out of all of them that took it to heart. I have an armband here that says whatever it takes. And he still wears it if you Google it and you Makozolo Mampimpi.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And look at what he's achieved from then.
Absolutely. No, you can. I think you can help people to realign their priorities. You can help people to discover that they have the ability to master themselves. And I'm sure that there are people who have had a very intense personal spiritual experience from all of this. But there are also people like me who are just, you should just tell us to leave because we'll ruin it for everyone else.
I mean, I've been at a circle drumming exercise with Gareth before, and he was very disruptive. It wasn't his thing at all. But I was wondering, were there people, like, so you have these big events, right, and team building sessions. Have there ever been moments where the CEO would be the only one who didn't do the firewalk because he was too scared?
I had one event like that.
Really?
However, I say everything is a reason. That CEO ended up leaving that company because there was that disconnect. That tells me there's a disconnect between the people and the team, and they all didn't like the CEO, and then he didn't walk, but the rest of the team walked. And not long after that, he left. The same with when other people don't walk. I'm not saying that everyone should walk. However, I was saying how you do anything is how you do everything. If you're not willing to support walking with a team, because here's the thing I say, you don't have to walk with the fire. You can walk next to it from the one side to the next. And if you can't even do that as a team, where else in the business are you not working as a team and you are becoming more disruptive?
Yeah.
And through that, usually those people don't stay long in the company. And I can see it, you know, just from a simple activity.
Like
as
an
well,
attitude
walking.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've those things. I saw they tried to make me partake in a firewalk, I don't know, 20 years ago and something. I was like, nah, you guys go ahead, you do this. Just got in my car and went home. I didn't feel like I missed out on anything. But maybe now I could give it a second thought. Maybe I'd give it a second try. I don't know. I mean, I've changed my mind about a lot of things. Yeah, I used to decide, hell no. So here we go. Here we go. Imagine vegan Vikings, says Azalea. You're not a vegan, are you?
No, actually, I'm a carnivore.
Ah, very good. Yeah, there we go. John Bad Dog says if you look into the carnivore diet, it's probably better for you. So that would mean you only eat meat.
Only eat meat, yeah. I've lost now 20 kilograms in the last year.
Sure.
Being on the carnivore. And that has also helped my health. I have less pain, less inflammation, and it's really had a big impact on my life.
Okay. That's the opposite of me because I only bleed about 1 drop of blood, says Mapelos. He's got the opposite of hemophilia. Congo Chris says, can we get James to do a firewalk on the show? James, did you do a firewalk? Oh, he's taking a shit again.
Last time he was vomiting, actually. And he came in looking fine.
How many people usually take part in one of these things? Can it be anywhere between like 5 and 100?
Yes, the smallest amount was one person in the audience I did it for, that wanted to do a firewalk. And the most that I've been part of was 6,500.
How long before the thing starts do you have to start the fire?
So it's usually dependent on the wood. So in South Africa, if we use cirkelbos, it's about 3 hours.
Okay.
Black wattle and blue gum, it's about 2 hours, an hour and a half to 2 hours. Yeah, then I have to start. For me to prepare people, it's anywhere between a half an hour to 45 minutes to get them ready to walk on fire. The more time I have, the easier it becomes because then more people walk, especially when they hear my story and my journey from what I went through. And then they have this saying, if Cobus can do it with all of his excuses, why can't I do it?
Okay, no, I like this. James couldn't even take Miss Batten to her best beating. I don't know what the hell Bitcoin But's talking about here. He won't even be able to walk on ash. So how long is the fire warm enough for people to walk on?
So we have drums where we put in the coals, so we refresh the fire.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have coals walking, and then as it starts getting colder, then I just add more coals to it so that to keep the heat at the heat level that I wanted.
I think it sounds pretty damn exciting. Also, it's nicer to do it in winter.
Yes, there's like your feet wants to eat.
Yeah, you're like, I'll take this. We had our team building and basic training. You do your thing, says Chris. The Vikings had some of the coolest, most interesting people who ever lived. Yeah, they did. Circle Boys is the best Brywood, says Richard Lemmer. Oh, now there's an interesting point.
There we go.
Interesting. Do you know that the King of England today, the royal family, can trace their history back to the Vikings?
Oh, yeah.
So it's how impacted.
I did this thing. You remember that genetic test that we did with the mouth swabs and everything? So I'm like 67%
Viking.
Scandinavian.
No, it's Scandinavian. Yeah.
But I suppose that's a big surprise to anybody. I am 3% Persian. So that I thought was more interesting.
Persian cat.
Yeah, probably Persian cat. It's so funny. A mate of mine was with his wife. I saw them over the weekend, and they have 2 kids. And he said, both the kids have turned out to be like 3% Nigerian.
Oh.
And he doesn't know how this is possible.
Have the parents done tests?
Yes, and neither of them have any of the Nigerian.
Wow.
So he said it's
How
a
does
little
that
bit,
work?
yeah, it's a bit scruffy. We're trying to figure it out.
Okay.
That's pretty funny. So what else do you do with these team builders? Because it's not just the firewalks.
Yeah, I do
right?
the ice plunges as well. I do.
That's become very trendy. People like the ice plunges. So again, is there any kind of preparation you have to do for this? Because, you know, someone like Gene Hackman with a dicky heart, you don't want to just drop him in the ice bath.
Oh.
Do you have to check people's medical record? I mean, is it a huge amount of admin for you, or do you just get a bunch of people and they join in a fun event?
I let them sign a waiver.
And if you die, you die.
Well, it's their choice. And remember, they know their medical history, and so they have to make choice. So if they're uncertain, they have to check with their doctors.
Yeah.
So and then they have to make the choice, and it's their choice in the end of the day if they're going to do it or not. And there needs to be preparation. You know, with the preparation also comes the intent. Why do you want to do it? Because then it becomes more powerful. You can have it as a bucket list stick, and yes, I've done it. But if there's intentions behind it of why you want to do it, it has a much bigger impact on you.
Okay. I just want to people are taking the opportunity to make fun of me this morning, which is terrific. 3% Persian. Do you have a special place to park your carpet, Gareth? That's scary. Congo Chris says that's no surprise at all, considering you're Prince Philippe of Belgium's secret love child.
Oh, yes, that's right.
I note that Gareth says Persian and not Iranian, says Chris Smith. Omega-3 supplements help heaps with decreasing inflammation in the body and reduce joint pain. Amazing stuff. I take it every day and feel amazing. So that guy's just busy letting you know that he feels better than you do every morning. That's nice. So, okay, people do this stuff, though, because sometimes they're looking for answers. Yes. So do you identify those people before you've even done the firewalk or anything? And do you say to them, listen, I know what you're after here. You might find it, you might not. Do you have to take them aside and spend time with them? Because, you know, they're like these people, for example, I know some people who they're searching for something. They'll go to firewalks, they'll take hallucinogenics, they'll bungee jump or skydive or whatever it is to try and unlock some secret that they're trying to find. And sometimes they do. And sometimes it's life-changing for them. But often they keep searching forever. It's never enough.
I think that some of them, and this is just my truth and assumption, is that most people get addicted to the journey.
Yeah.
They keep coming back. So they become addictive, and instead of forgotten about why they started the journey and what they're really looking for. Because the thing is, once you've got the answer, you have to grow to the next level and go for something bigger that keeps challenging you, right? Instead of constantly finding the answer. Because if you're constantly looking for an answer and you're not getting it, then you're doing something wrong. Because the thing is, once you got it, you have to move on. Or like most of us, sometimes we get addicted to certain circumstances or certain experiences. Usually at seminars, we call those people also seminar junkies, because they go from seminar to seminar to seminar and never apply the things that they've learned. Because the thing is, the secret has come down to application. If you don't apply what your learnings were, then you're going to have to keep repeating it.
So after you've done something like the firewalks, what do people do? Do they sit and want to talk about it? Is it just a feeling of sort of general euphoria and being together and being part of something, and then it goes away, or does it last for a long time? Like, what are your experiences long term of this sort of thing?
Look, there's two things. There is people that has long-lasting effect, that has impacted them, and they always remembered, and they bring it back to their first firewalk experience.
Yeah.
And there's those people that don't get the learnings, that don't get the processing and understanding, because it's like bathing once and think you're gonna be clean for the rest of the month, right? It's like you have to then constantly work on yourself and going through the process. Otherwise, it means nothing. So the euphoria puts your energy up high, but it automatically goes down. So you need to work at it with the tools to keep it at that level, that vibrancy, that energy level. So most people don't do it. However, those who do it, you can see the transition in their business, in their life, all of that.
And it has very positive aspects of consequence for so many people. I mean, otherwise it wouldn't be a thing. Like, people will stop doing it, you know? If something doesn't work, people pick up very quickly that it's nonsense. I used to, when Leigh-Ann was late in the mornings, I would torture her with an iron and burn her feet underneath. But that's not the same as a firewalk, is it?
that comes from your true experience of when you told your mom and dad to stop smoking, and she would burn you with cigarettes.
Yes, that's true. That's probably why I don't like to try firewalks.
Yeah, that's it.
Lex, would you do a firewalk? No. You get people who just go no like that.
I
Just
do.
assholes, just, you know, they just don't want to be a part of anything.
Yeah, I can even have my whip there and try to get them over. They don't want to. But I think, as I always say, you can learn as much by looking and learning from others walking of fire as well. However, I've had people that 3 years later comes that never wanted to walk, that comes and walk over the fire. I've had people like Flex that comes and says, there's no way you're making me walk, and I want you to guarantee me you're not going to pick on me, you're not going to focus me, I'm not walking. I said, I will leave you alone. They're just there to support their friends. And guess what? By the time the firewalk comes, they're one of the first that wants to walk the fire.
Yeah, I do think there are a lot of people who secretly want to do these things, but then, you know, there's something in their makeup or in their head that says, I'm going to pretend I don't want to do this. Look, I genuinely am not that interested in doing some of these things. Also, because to me, I've always found it lame when people behave like sheep, when they all do the same thing. So I just have an inbuilt, I think I was burnt as a witch in my previous life. No, so
like aerobics classes aren't for you.
Yeah, no, I'm like, when a whole lot of people are doing the same thing, it just makes me nervous as hell. It's like, this mob could become dangerous at any time. I'm telling you, they burnt me as a witch. That's how I know for sure. So the fire, I mean, maybe I'll burn like a witch, and then you'll know for sure that that's me.
Well, I mean, spontaneous combustion where you weren't even near the fire.
Look, I agree with you. You have to have a reason to walk over the fire. You know, some do it as a bucket list, and some has the opportunity. Like, if we had to do a firewalk here today and have it, you might then consider doing it just to maybe for a bucket list and say, you know, it's been people
warm up this freezing fucking studio for a start.
Let's do that. So I say, you know, somewhere, somehow, it is going to call you. The fire calls you when you need to be called. I have that saying. The fire knows when you're ready.
Also interesting, like humans, whenever there's a fire, we can't help ourselves. We gather around it. We are mystified by fire. We watch it. We talk around it. It unlocks a kind of a communal feeling in us. There's definitely something about us and fire that we've never really cracked the code on. It's like a hugely important thing to humans.
Yeah,
definitely. But also, I think if you think about fire, it also needs to happen to bring new life.
Yeah,
if you think, you know, it takes away that doesn't serve you anymore, and I think that symbolism is also powerful. Is what new life do you want to ignite in you again? Maybe give you that purpose.
I'm guessing you probably have like 10 fireplaces at home. You make fires all over the place.
Yeah,
right?
Look, I like to make a fire. It's like, especially with a glass of wine and enjoying fire.
Absolutely. My reason for walking in fire, it's fire. When will I get that opportunity again, says Bitcoin Bot? Well, do it whenever you want. Why don't you just make a fire? You can't do this at home, kids.
Yes, please.
So actually, this is a good moment for you to tell us like about the kinds of things that people need to know, because you haven't just started doing this on a whim. It's something that you need to train. You need to be careful about. You need to know the precautions. You need to you told us what kind of wood you use to make the fire.
Look, I'm a master firewalk instructor. I went to study from the guy that started it in America, Tolly Burkan. He even trained Tony Robbins, for example. So Tony Robbins that does it around the world. Tony Robbins actually made it famous.
Yeah.
And so I went to train it, and I came back, and I've now trained over 150 people to do it as well. So I do a retreat once a year. And
there we go. Are we watching the video here? right?
For example, 108. That's just
This is your video.
That's a video of us burning the fire. Yeah. That's
Nice.
so. So on the last night of the retreat that we're doing, we walk 108 times.
Look at this. And what about very fat people? I mean, because
they fine. It's
because
usually with
fat,
the glass
won't
walk.
the fat just catch fire and then they'll burst into flames. No,
no, they won't. Look,
because it oozes out of the feet, right? Doesn't it? How does it work with the very fat?
The only challenge is they grab the coals with their big toes and they carry it with them. No, they actually love it.
And
I
see
find that
people are
kids
just-
love it more.
Really, kids? What's the youngest you've had
2
do a
years.
firewalk? 2-year-old.
Yes.
And they enjoy it.
And they enjoy it. They just want to go and go. And the parents are too scared to go and then they let their kids go.
Sure.
That's usually the funniest thing. to me.
Okay. The fatties crush the coals, says Bitcoin But. Cobus, when you saw the LA fires, were you sad that they didn't take the opportunity to break a world record? People are mean. Firewalking has been part of my Indian culture in South Africa for many years. Is it a thing in South Africa? Do you think it's more popular? It's getting more popular?
I think it's getting more popular. When I started, it wasn't that popular. A lot of people were like, no, they don't want to walk on fire. It was something new for them. I understand in the Indian culture, there's a cultural thing about them to do, but it's more of a religious thing.
Right.
Where I don't bring in the religious side. I bring in more of the mind-body connection of what you want to focus on. So I find that people that are not religious also gets attracted to me to come and experience something like that and give them a different spiritual experience as well.
Okay. I love it. I wish you well. How can people get hold of you if they want to get you to come and do something like this for them, their colleagues, their friends, whatever it might be?
Yeah, hopefully we'll come back one day and get you to do some of the activities here. And
I wouldn't like put that on the list of things that you need to achieve. You may end up being disappointed in me, but for other people.
Yeah, it's for other people. It's to inspire other people.
Yeah, I'm like the world's least team player person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have a gift here for you too. I'm going to
hot
give it
coal?
to you. No, it's not a hot coal. It's my books that I wrote. It's about my life story. About
Okay, amazing.
Kilimanjaro.
Now that I'd love to have. Thank
And
you.
can I get my team
Yeah,
to
of
bring
course.
it
Yeah,
just
yeah.
for you?
Grab.
So while
Grab
they bring it, where people can
You
do
have a whole
it's-
team. He's got like 20 people here.
Yeah, interesting. My partner was on your show 11 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
Oh, wow.
This
it's
is
amazing.
excellent. Look at this. What a cool cover of this book.
See, he gets
Huh?
very excited by books.
Yeah.
Coals,
Walking through fire.
not so much.
I love this.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
there we go.
people
Leigh-Ann.
just need
Wow.
to search Cobus Visser, Cobus with a C, Cobus Visser, the Viking, or just to go to cobusvisser.com and they will find details. I'm on all
I think
social
this is
media.
so cool. Okay, listen, do the stuff, especially if you're one of those people who feels like you're a bit stuck. I think if you're one of those people who wants to develop self-mastery, if you want to have a feeling that will correspond with the idea that you can use your mind to control your body.
And even
so many
if
people
you
think
are-
the body controls the mind. If you're a perfect example. If your body had controlled your mind, you wouldn't have made it to 11 years old.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely. And I think for people as well is even if they don't want to walk like you, Gareth, it's to come be part of the experience and maybe just do inner reflection of yourself and where you're going and what is your journey in life. And sometimes that is also just as good an experience as just walking on
Sure.
fire.
Sit and look at the fire. Talk
Yes.
about some
Yeah.
interesting stuff. Absolutely. All right. I love it. Thank you very much. Cobus Visser is our guest, and Leigh-Ann Mol, and that Nigerian dude who drove so fast in Cape Town. That's what we've had today.
Prince Obiamo.
Prince
Obiamo.
Yeah, that one. Great. Good stuff. All right. Lovely. Have an excellent Monday and a very, very good week. And we will be back on Wednesday morning at 6 a.m. I'm going to use the power of my mind to now not have a cold because I can feel
Oh dear,
Yeah,
yes, it's that.
what I fuck up. On Wednesday. Here's Wings singing AC/DC just for the end.